Namaste. Thank you for joining me today to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Find a nice, comfortable seated position on a blanket or cushion block where you can sit nice and tall, have the back of your spine, the back of your neck be nice and straight, opening up your chest, opening up your diaphragm, and opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present and return to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the fourth Niyama, and the Niyamas being the guidelines on how to interact with yourself. The fourth Niyama is Svadyaya, and it's Sanskrit. The Sava means oneself, and the adhyaya, it's a mouthful, means inquiry or examination. So it's basically about self-study and self-awareness. It's about self-study and self-awareness, stepping into the role of observer without judgments. When we're on the mat, we need to observe our bodies and our breath without the ego involved. Remember, the goals of our asana practice is to find strength, flexibility, and balance. And that's going to look different on each of us. Aristotle says, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. So as an observer to our life off the mat, think of yourself as a Russian nesting doll, a matryoshka. Each layer is a role or a label we or society have given us. Each layer a thought or belief you have of yourself. At the center of all the layers is a solid doll, your innermost core, your soul, your spirit. This core is present in everyone, and I may dare say everything. When we say namaste, we are saying the spirit in me honors the spirit in you. We are cutting through all the layers to recognize and honor the spirit of that person. So for our meditation this morning, instead of doing our mudras, I'm going to suggest two mantras. The first one is so hum. And the so means that, and the hum means I am. So it means that I am. And when you're doing your meditation, people typically inhale using the so in their mind. So you can do it out loud or in your mind, and exhale on the hum. So let's just do that for a moment. And I just want to mention that it symbolizes the fact that we're all connected to the universe. So, oops, not so, but so just take a moment and breathe in, saying so, and exhale, saying hum. So, hum. So, hum. So, hum. So, hum. And then the other mantra is the word Om, O-M, and that is a sound that representing the divine thread that runs through the universe. And Om is actually a kind of a drawn out word. It's Om. It's almost as if you're swallowing the word. So, and again, you can do that out loud or silently to yourself. So just try a few Om, and you feel that vibration. And that vibration is that sound, that is that thread that runs through the universe. Om. 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 You may open your eyes now and we'll begin our asana practice. We're going to begin with a few head nods, just warming up the upper body and kind of work our way down. So let's just inhale, lifting our head up to the sky, and then exhale, sending our eyes down to our lap. Deep inhale, lifting our eyes up. Deep exhale, sending our eyes down. And feel free with your inhales and exhales to have them use the ujjayi breath, that sound in the back of your throat, or just a soft, gentle breath. Or on the exhale, cleansing breath where you're opening your mouth and just releasing that air through your open mouth. Whichever works for you. And bring your head back to center. We're going to inhale, turn our head gently to the left. And exhale, bring it back to center. Inhale, turn it gently to the right. And exhale, back to center. Inhale to the left. And gently back to center. Inhale to the right. Exhale, back to center. And then we're going to make little circles with our nose. So gently make circles with your nose going in a clockwise direction. See if you can link up your breath with this movement using both the inhale and the exhale. And then we're going to go in the opposite direction. Gently make circles counterclockwise. And come back to a neutral position. And we'll do some shoulder shrugs. So just gently bring your shoulders up toward your ears, roll them back so your shoulder blades come together. Send them on down gently toward the mat, and then pull them forward toward the front of the room. So gently up, back, down, and forward. Release any tension you may be feeling. This is a gentle, relaxing move. So I think I mentioned before when I was in yoga teacher training, we saw a video by a yogi, a prominent yogi by the name of Paul Grilly. And the video was all about how people's bodies are different. And it was pretty amazing. I mean, we had younger men, younger women, older women, and it wasn't an age-based situation that made them be in a certain position or not. It was their own individual body. So, there was a younger person who wasn't able to be as flexible as an older person, and vice versa. It was a very illuminating video to watch. That basically the bottom line is that we're all different. So when you see me do a pose, I want you to find your interpretation of that pose. And just doing a piece of the pose is doing the pose, but it has to benefit you, not me doing what I do might not necessarily benefit you. So if you're done with your shoulder shrugs, let's put our fingertips down on the mat. And inhale deeply, lifting our hands up overhead for sun breaths. Today's a nice sunny day. It's a perfect day to be doing sun breaths. Bring our fingertips down on the exhale. Inhale deeply, inhale all the way up. Exhale, Bring fingertips down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. And inhale up. And exhale down. Then we'll do some sun twists. So we're going to inhale, lifting our arms overhead. Gently twist our torso to the left and bring our hands down on the exhale. Then inhale, sweep our hands up and gently twist to the right and bring our hands down on the exhale. Inhale up, gently twist to the left, exhale. Inhale up, gently twist to the right, exhale, bring your hands down. Inhale, lift your hands up one last time over to the left. Exhale down. And inhale up. One last time over to the right. And exhale down. And come back to center. We're going to roll down on our back. So if you're seated on a cushion, you can move that over to the side. And gently roll down on your back. You can put your hands under your knees and just roll back, or you can roll one vertebrae at a time using your core muscles and slowly come down to the earth. Bring your knees up to your chest and give them a nice gentle hug. Interlace your fingers and place them around your right kneecap and extend your left leg all the way down toward the bottom of the mat, but don't land it on the mat. Just kind of have it hover a little bit. Point both toes up toward the sky and rotate your feet in a clockwise position. Both feet make nice circles in a clockwise position. And then bring your left knee back up to your right knee. Give both legs a nice hug. And then move your hands over to your left kneecap. Extend your right leg fully down to the bottom of the mat and let it hover just above the mat. Toes are pointed up to the sky. And then do a nice set of circles with your feet, clockwise. And then bring your right knee back up to your chest. Give both knees a nice hug. And we'll do that again. So we're going to send our right leg out, down toward the bottom of the mat, pointing our toes up to the sky. And now do counterclockwise circles with your toes. And bring that right leg back up, gentle hug. Switch hands over to the right knee, extending the left leg fully down to the bottom of the mat, letting it hover just above the mat, pointing your toes up, and do some more counterclockwise circles with your feet. And bring your left leg back up, gentle hug. We're going to place one hand on our right hand on the right knee, left hand on the left knee. We're going to extend our arms fully out ahead of us, sending our knees away from us. And then with our hands staying on our kneecaps, we're going to open our knees to each side, bringing the soles of our feet together. Then we're going to guide our kneecaps back toward our shoulders. And then gently bring our knees together over our chest. Again, extend your hands fully away from you. Knees are going as far away from you, but still holding on to the kneecaps. Send each knee out to the side, bringing the soles of your feet together. Inhale, bringing your knees, guiding your knees back to your shoulders. And then closing your knees over your chest. And we'll do that a few more times. And again, see here how you can hook up your breath, the inhales and exhales, to the movement. So you can try it both ways. If you exhale when you're bringing your knees together, maybe try inhaling on the next round. See if that changes how the pose feels in you, that self-awareness. And one last time, we'll all meet with our knees closed over our chest. Then set both feet on the mat. We'll bring our right ankle, cross it over our left thigh so that we are in a reclined pigeon pose. Your left sole of your foot's on the mat still, and your right knee's pointing as comfortably as you can to the right side. Maybe guide it a little bit further. And then you could stay there, or if you like, you can lift your left leg up, interlace your fingers behind the left thigh, and guide that left leg toward you. And if you want a little bit more stretch, you can reach your hands around your shin, interlace the fingers, and guide the left leg toward you. And again, feel at each step, if you're doing all three, how your body responds to that. If there's some tension, send a nourishing deep breath to it. On the exhale, so your nourishing breath on the exhale would relax you, maybe relax the tension. And if it doesn't after a few breaths, I would just kind of back off a little bit from that pose. Maybe just have it interlaced behind your thighs and not have it as close to your chest. And we want to find that sweet spot between effort and relaxation. So you need to be aware how your body's responding to find that sweet spot. Then place the sole of that foot down, both feet go back down to the mat, and we'll switch sides. So bring your left ankle over your right thigh, just below your kneecap, and guide your left knee to the left side of the mat. And that might be perfect for you. And if you want, you can lift your right leg up, interlace your hands behind the thigh, and slowly guide it toward your chest, or perhaps interlace around the shin and slowly guide the leg to your chest. And I can feel my breath, my Ujjayi breath, getting a little shallow here, and you can probably hear it in my voice. So I'm going to back off a little bit and just have my hands wrapped around my thigh. That will be my sweet spot today. And then bring both feet back down to the mat. And you can roll over to your favorite side, and we're going to make our way up to tabletop, or you can rock and roll. So place your hands underneath your knees and rock on up. Cross your legs in front of you. Come up onto your hands, and then come up into the tabletop. The tabletop, our wrists are right below our shoulders. Fingers are spread out wide, index finger pointing to the front of the mat. And our weight is in our fingertips, not in our wrists. So you can feel that contact with the base of your fingers on the mat. And gently push down into the mat so that you're creating space between your shoulder and your ear. Have your back nice and straight, navel's tucked to your spine, creating a nice flat back. Knees are right under your hips. We're going to send our right foot back to the back bottom of the mat and curl our toes under and gently just push into our heel, just giving it a little bit of motion and energy, just stretching out that foot. And then we're going to lift our right foot and send it over to the left side of the mat so that it actually comes off the mat. Toes are now on the floor. And then gently turn our head to the left to look at our foot. Deeply breathe in through this twist. And bring that right foot back, knees under your hips, back to tabletop. We'll do that with the left foot. So extend your left foot all the way to the bottom of the mat, toes curled under, and gently just kind of push into the heel. So you're giving that leg a nice energetic stretch. And then lift the left foot, send it over to the right side of the mat, coming off the mat. And then gently turn your head to the right to look at your foot. And breathe into that twist. And then bring that foot back, come back to tabletop. We'll do some cat-cows, so just check your alignment again. Your fingertips are nice and wide, pressing down gently into your hands, creating that space. And we're going to exhale, rounding the back, sending our head and our tailbone down toward the mat. And then inhale, lifting our head and tailbone up for cow. Exhale, rounding our back, dropping our head and tailbone down for cat. Then inhale, head and tailbone come up for cow. And continue on here for a few moments. Deep, deep inhales, deep exhales, synchronizing the movement to your breath. And then come back to tabletop. And we're going to do the same thing, only instead of exhaling when you're making your cat, try inhaling and see how that is with your body. I know I guide you each week with inhales and exhales, but if you feel that the opposite synchronization with your breath is better for you, then please do that. So rounding our back, we're going to inhale, dropping our head and tailbone down, and then exhale, lifting our head and our tailbone up. Inhale, round. Exhale to cow. Inhale to cat. Exhale to cow. Inhale, cat. And one last exhale to cow. And then we'll do our bird dog. So bring your knees together underneath your hips. Find the alignment in your hands. Extend your right leg out at hip height. Toes are pointed to the back of the mat. Extend your left arm out. Fingertips are pointing to the top of the mat. And then point your toes on the inhale. Flex your toes toward the mat on the exhale. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. 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 One last time. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex, and bring everything back down. And we'll do that on the other side. So knees together on your hips. Extend your left leg out at hip height. Find an equal distribution of weight in your hands so that your hips aren't twisted up. They're parallel with the mat. Extend your right arm out, pointing the fingertips to the front. And point on the inhale, flex, exhale. Point, 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 inhale, and flex, exhale, and bring it all back down. Then curl your toes under and walk your hands back, coming into a squat. And then we're going to push down into our feet to lift up into mountain. We'll go through the essentials of good posture, mountain pose. So our toes are pointed to the straight edge of the mat. We'll lift the toes up off the mat, just the toes, and spread your toes out as far as you can. And then bring them back down to the mat, lifting our heels up off the mat. And bring them back down. And feel that rooting into the mat and into the earth. Our legs are nice and straight and strong. Gentle bend in the knees, keep the knees flexible. Navel's tucked to the spine, support our lower back, creating a nice long spine. Back of our neck is nice and tall. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Crown of our head is reaching up to the sky. So if we pull a nice string, straight string up, everything will be nice and lined up over one another. We're going to inhale, sweep our hands up overhead. And then exhale, bending our knees, tucking our navel to our spine, bring our hands down to the mat. And then inhale, bring our hands to our shins, creating a nice flat back, nice long line with your back of your spine and your neck. And slide your fingers all the way up to the tops of your thighs. You send your elbows up toward the sky, but it opens your chest and opens your heart, flattening out your back a little bit better. And then slide your hands all the way down to the floor, to the mat, sending the crown of your head down toward the mat. And deep inhale, sweep your hands from the mat all the way up overhead. And come up onto our tippy toes for palm tree. And we'll just take a moment to sway here. Work on our balance. And then exhale, bring our heels back down, bring our hands back all the way down to the floor. Inhale, bring your hands halfway up, half forward fold. And then again, slide your hands all the way up to the tops of the thighs, opening your heart. And then slide your hands all the way back down to the floor, bringing the crown of your head down toward the floor. And then sweep your hands from the mat all the way up overhead. Palms come together. And for supported side stretch, we'll bring our right hand down to our right thigh And slide that hand down toward our knee. And then inhale, bring that hand back up, meeting the left, then dropping the left hand down to our left thigh, slide it down toward the left knee. Inhale, come back up. Hands come back together. Drop your right hand to the right thigh, sliding it down toward your right knee. And come back up. And one last time on the left hand to left thigh, slide it down toward your left knee, and then come back up. And then bring your hands back down, forward fold, bending your knees, sliding your hands up to your shins, half forward fold, and slide your hands all the way up to the tops of the thighs, elbows point up to the sky, nice flat back. Slide your hands all the way down toward the floor, crown of the head comes down toward the floor. Inhale, sweep your hands all the way up and overhead, palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And we're going to do some leg lifts. So your feet are nicely rooted to the mat right now. And we're going to work with just the left leg rooted to the mat, lifting the right leg up and just have it hang there at a 90 degree angle, not 45. And just find the balance in this pose. And then we're going to lift our hands up overhead. So it's like a tree pose, only we're just going to send the leg out in front of us today. And then bring our hands and leg back down. We'll do that on the other side. So find yourself nice and rooted with your right foot into the mat. And lift your left leg up, 90 degree angle. Hands come to heart center. And just find the stability in this move. And then inhale, lift your hands up overhead. And then bring your hands and your leg back down. Nicely done. Inhale, sweep your hands up overhead. Big inhale, big exhale, forward fold, bending your knees, palms come to the mat. Then sweep up to half forward fold, straight back, and then send your hands all the way up to the top of the thighs. Elbows go back, hearts open. Then slide your hands all the way down to the mat. Top of your head comes down toward the mat. And then sweep your hands all the way up from the mat, up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. Then palms come to the back of your hips. So bring your feet hip width apart. Fingertips are pointing down. Palms are resting on the back of your hips. Shoulders are relaxed. Chin is tucked to your chest. We're just going to gently drop our shoulders back, keeping our chin tucked to our chest so our head doesn't fall back. And this is a supported back bend. And then find that sweet spot with this pose where you're continuing to breathe naturally, or deep inhales and exhales. And I used to do this when we first started doing this. I always stopped breathing during this pose. So now I've got to the point where maybe it's a little on the shallow side, but it's still a nice even breath. And then inhale, come back up. Well done, everyone. So we're gonna inhale, sweep our hands up overhead. Big inhale, exhale, forward fold. Bring our hands down to the mat. I'm going to extend our right leg, just our right leg, to the back of the mat, coming on our toes, coming into runner's lunge. So your knees over, left knee is over your left ankle. Your right heel's pushing to the back of the mat. Legs are both nice and straight, or not straight, strong and active. And then we're going to bring the right knee down to the mat, the top of the right foot down to the mat, and slowly bring our hands up to the sky for low lunge. And this is a pose that I always struggle with. I've definitely had to make it my own because there's something that my lower back questions about it all the time. So again, make it your own. Find a way to do it so that you are in that sweet spot between being challenged and being comfortable in it. So then we're going to come back up to runner's lunge, tuck your toes under, come back up to runner's lunge, and pivot the back foot down so it's flat on the mat. Heels tucked out, toes are pointing 45 degrees up toward the front, and we're going to come up to warrior one. Warrior one, our knees still in the lunge position, knees over your ankle, back foot's nice and firm in the mat. And you can bring your arms up, creating a gentle back bend with your focus on the upper right-hand corner. Or if you want, you can move your left foot 2 steps to the left and then twist so that you're facing front. Either one is acceptable for warrior one. And then we bring our hands behind our back, interlacing our fingers, rolling back our shoulders gently, and then just pivot at the waistline, sending our gaze down to the mat and sending our interlaced fingers out to the back. So it's a modified humble warrior. And then let go of your fingers, bringing them back down to the mat. Bring your left foot back to your right foot, coming into plank position with your wrists over under your shoulders, heels pushing back, navel's tucked to the spine, elevating your hips slightly so you're not having a sagging tummy. And then we're going to bring our knees down to the mat, our chest down to the mat, and our chin down to the mat. Elbows are up toward the sky, bringing them just up a little bit underneath our shoulders. Gently push, coming up into cobra. Our hips are still on the mat. Nice gentle back bend. And then push up into tabletop and send your hips back toward your ankles. Send them down toward your ankles for child's pose. Come back up to tabletop, tuck our toes under, and send our hips up to downward dog. Again, weight is in your fingertips, index finger pointing to the front of the mat. Arms are nice and straight. Chest is reaching toward your thighs. And pedal out here, keeping your knees gently bent if you're not pedaling. And then we're going to lift our right leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. And then bring it back down, bend the knee, bringing it up toward our right elbow. And then bring our foot up between the hands. And you probably will need some assist like I do to get your foot between your hands, and you're now in runner's lunge again. Right knees above our right ankle, back leg, left leg, heels pushing to the back of the mat. And then bring your left knee down to the mat, left top of the foot down to the mat. I'm going to lift our arms up for a low lunge, creating a nice gentle back bend. And then bring our hands back down to the mat. Tuck our toes under. Coming back up to runner's lunge. Pivot the back foot down. And then reach all the way up for warrior one. Again, you could be facing the upper left corner of your mat, or if you want, you can move your right foot out to the right a couple steps and twist and face the front of the mat. Bring your arms down and in back of your hips, interlacing your fingers and rolling your shoulders back gently. And then pivoting at the waistline, send your gaze down to the mat or a modified humble warrior. Bring your hands both back down to the mat. Send your right foot to the back, meet your left foot. Knees, chest, chin, come down to the mat. Knees down, chest down, chin down. Elbows are tucked to the sides of your ribs. Hands are underneath your shoulders. Gently push up, lifting with your chest into cobra. And then push up into tabletop, and then send your hips to your ankles to child's pose. Inhale, come back up to tabletop, tuck your toes under to downward dog, lifting our hips up to the sky. And pedal out here for a moment. And then we're going to lift our left leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. And then bring your left knee to your left elbow. And then send your left foot between your hands, coming into runner's lunge. And this one, we're going to pivot our back foot down now, and then lift our hands and come into warrior two. So do a nice sweep of your arms, bringing them to shoulder height. Your knees over your ankle, back foot's nice and snug into the mat, toes pointing at a little bit of a 45-degree angle. Chest is open to the long side of the mat. And slowly turn your gaze to look at your left fingertips. And the warrior movements are based on strength poses. So again, what we're trying to do is create flexibility, strength, and balance in our bodies. And it will look different for each of us. So we gently raise our right hand up, dropping our left hand down for peaceful warrior. Sending our gaze up to our fingertips. And then bring our left hand all the way down, cartwheel both hands all the way down to the mat. Send our left foot back to meet our right foot, coming into plank. And you can either knees, chest, chin like we did before, or chaturanga. Chaturanga is your navel's tucked to your spine, heels are pushed to the back, elbows are tucked to the ribs and slowly lowering to the mat. And then gently pushing up into cobra. Coming up into tabletop, sending our hips to our heels for child's pose. Inhale, come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, come up into downward dog, lifting your hips up to the sky. And pedal out here for a moment. And just be aware of how you feel in your hands, your arms, your legs, your breath. Tune into your breath. And then we're going to lift our right leg up, three-legged dog. Bring our right knee to our right elbow. And then bring our right foot between our hands. Coming back into runner's lunge. Pivot the back foot down. And then sweep our hands up and over, coming into warrior two on the other side. And check your lunge position. You should be able to see your big toe over your knee. Your chest is facing the long side of the mat. And gently turn your head to look at your right fingertips. Send your right fingertips up to the sky. Left hand comes down to your thigh. And then bring your right hand all the way down, cartwheel them, both hands down to the mat. Bring your right foot back to meet up with your left. And again, lower to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And we're going to put our hands along the side. Chin is on the mat, palms are facing up. And we will lift our right leg up and bring that back down. Lift our left leg up, bring that back down. Those are half lotuses. And then the full lotus will lift both legs and arms up off the mat and then back down. And then bring your arms up in front of you so that they're reaching up to and over the mat, reaching ahead of you like you're in the Superman pose. So we're going to lift the right leg and left arm up and bring that back down. Lift the left leg and right arm up and bring that back down. And then lift both legs and arms up. So definitely in Superman pose. And bring those back down. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Elbows are tucked to the side. And slowly, gently, lifting with your chest, come up into cobra. And up to tabletop. And down to child's pose, sending our hips down to our ankles. And then inhale, come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, lifting your hips up to the sky for downward dog. And just walk out here for a moment. And then slowly walk your feet up to your hands, coming into a forward fold. Knees are bent. Round your back and slowly come up to mountain. And we're going to do warrior three. So it's similar to what we did earlier. We're going to start with our left leg rooted into the mat. Lift our right leg up. Hands come to heart center. Then we send our hands up overhead. And as we do that, we're going to send our right leg to the back of the mat, pivoting at the hips and coming into warrior three. Keep your left knee bent and agile. And come out. And if you come out, it says something about you. Do you fall out of the pose and try again? Try. Do you try the pose until it hurts? These are things that you need to think about even when you're off the mat. Do you give up too easily, or do you stay in the heat of the moment too long? So let's try that on the other side. Right foot's nicely planted into the mat. You can keep a nice gentle bend in your knee. Lift your left leg up. Hands come to heart center. Find your stability. And you can stay in this pose if that works for you. They're both balance poses, so that you're achieving the same end result. So lift your hands up over your head. Sending your left leg in back of you, pivot at the waist, and come down to warrior three. And then come down. Well done, everyone. Bring our toes to the edges of the mat. Tuck our heels in 45-degree angle. Nice straight back. Hands come to heart center, prayer pose. And we're going to lower our hips down toward the mat, bringing our torso between our legs for wide-legged squat. Our elbows are on the inside of our knees. If you want a little more stretch, just send your prayer pose hands down toward the mat, which will open up your knees even a little bit further. And then bring your hips down to the mat. And this is where we're going to do legs up the wall. So if you have a wall, what you would do is bring your hip right against the wall and send your legs up so your feet are up, and then place this blanket underneath your hips. So that's version one if you happen to have a wall. And this I recommend. Soon it will be gardening season. This is my favorite gardening pose after my back is starting to hurt from gardening all day. And I do this for about 5 to 10 minutes, and it creates such a relief for my back. It's unbelievable. So that's with a wall. Without a wall, you can use the blanket again. It's right underneath your hip bones. And you can have your knees either on a chair pose on 90-degree angle, or you can send them up to the sky. Navel's tucked to the spine. It's a little less relaxing this way if you don't have the wall, but it creates the same benefit. And when you're ready, you can continue this for another few minutes, or if you're ready, you can Lower your legs and prepare for Shavasana. So just get yourself nice and cozy on your mat with your heels out to the edges of the mat, feet are flopped open. Just relax every muscle and bone into the mat, letting the mat and the earth support you. Just inhale deeply and then exhale, relaxing down, letting it all go into the mat. Let today's practice nourish your body and your soul. And for today's poem, I want to honor April being Poetry Month by reading the poem that is on display in downtown Montpelier for their Poem City. It's by yours truly, Terri Crowther. And the title is Humble Goddess. She came to me in the spring, like one of those optical illusions where you are asked to find the woman's face in the picture of tree branches. I was standing on the edge of the woodline path, gazing down the densely forested lane, a deer path, my Shinrin-yoku spot, and a massive boulder to my left, moved there by this land's steward a century ago. An assembly of 4 rocks sitting on top, the bottom 2 were bonded together like a yogi in basic seated pose. One shin crossing the other. The others lay there waiting to be placed like the last 2 pieces in a puzzle. I gently placed her torso atop of her hips. Long spine, heart open. Her head would sit in one spot only without tumbling off, sending her gaze downward to her lap. She came to life to live in the forest with her serene, humble expression, greeting me each day as I pause for my morning forest bath. Throughout the summer, a sunbeam would reach through the canopy of branches to touch her face, warming her soul in the shady spot. Now the autumn has arrived, draping the boulder in a skirt of fallen leaves, knitted together by Mother Nature. Rest this winter, humble goddess. Namaste.